China at this time is also getting far more economically advanced, which is going to happen irrespective of Iraq and America's confidence being throttled by the Iraq war. This pertains to Afghanistan. But look at what the U.S. just did. It signed over control of Afghanistan to the Taliban. And that was the country it went to Afghanistan before it went to Iraq to defeat. And now the U.S. government's totally cool with the Taliban running things. So that pretty much is the that event is the encapsulation of the sort of self-defeatist attitude that a lot of Americans have about the country, and it's not a bad attitude to have because it is grounded in historical fact. And I sincerely doubt that the United States is capable of doing anything close to what it did during the latter half of the 20th century and the early 21st century on the world stage.
I'd just like to pose a question to people. What Chinese brand do you most associate with quality? And you'll have a hell of a time trying to think of one, because all that China's much vaunted manufacturing industry does is put pieces together that other people develop, invent, and market. So it's quite a low-skilled economy. High school isn't even free in China. Many Chinese don't have access to high school due to rampant pollution problems in air and water, and other malnutrition and other issues. 1/3 of Chinese kids under 18 have an IQ below 90. So China is not on this stunning upward trajectory. So what happens in the news media is that they're always looking for a new exciting angle. And so around 2006, up until the present, the angle is the rise of China. And it's largely based on a delusion. So as each year goes by, the gap between China and the United States in absolute power widens. It's not like China's getting more powerful and it's on a trajectory to overcome the United States. In fact, by 2050, almost every single indicator predicts that the United States will be in a far more powerful position relative to other nations than the United States is even today. The United States spends as much on the military as the next 20 countries put together. China's military is as crappy as the typical products that they make. And those products that they make, all they're doing is snapping stuff into place that other people have designed, that other people have laid out. They're just snapping stuff into place. It's low skilled. They can companies can outsource it to Vietnam, to India, to other places. China's not this huge, fearful superpower that we need to worry about. Now, there's nothing in being an American that bestows wisdom about international relations. So all this poll shows is what's going on with people's perceptions, but there's no connection between the average American's perception and reality. So 2006 was a fairly bleak time for America. We were involved in the Iraq War. We were heading into a major financial meltdown. We had this inept response to the Katrina crisis, and we have all these news stories in the media saying that China's rising, China is rising. So you may think, oh, look, you're contradicting yourself because you said that people did not evolve to be gullible. But there's no importance to people making a prediction to a pollster about who's going to be the world superpower. That has no direct bearing on their life. So it's just they're giving a feeling of frustration with the American trajectory. That they're noticing their jobs and manufacturing base is being sent overseas. But I don't think there is much deeper significance than that. And I predict with every year that goes by, for at least the next 50 years, America will be far more powerful relative to other nations, including China, than it is today. If people want to read the book on this topic, the book is titled Unrivaled: Why America Will Remain the World's Superpower by an academic with the name Michael Beckley. Pass.
Okay. Just a reminder, if you have any reasonable, responsible questions or comments for Luke and I, please do drop them in the live chat, and we will get to them before we vacate the premises, so to speak. Anyhow, Luke, talking about Western civilization and low self-esteem, do you think that, to whatever extent people feel guilty about being part of the West, either they consciously look at it as the West or if they view it as a concept that just can't be named, even though they're talking about it as Western Civ. Do you think there's any way of sort of making people feel better about things? I know you don't believe it boils down necessarily to the average Jack or Jill, but do you think that there can be sort of like a Western positive movement, perhaps coming out of, I guess the only place to come out of is the American right, but I don't think that the American right, generally speaking, is a very serious thing. So I don't see it as an intellectually serious thing. I'll put it that way. Do you have anything to say about that, Luke?
Yeah, I think it might be exciting if we have the rise of nationalism or popular nationalism as embodied by Trump and various political parties in Europe on the right, such as in Italy and Hungary and Poland. I think there's a way forward.